Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Design Keys. For the first time in 23 years of existence of musical bridges around the world, we're presenting you Design Keys virtually. We're living in very strange times, and we believe that music plays a huge role in people's life. Thank you for being a part of it, and I hope to see you in concert halls soon.
Happy Sunday and welcome to the first virtual D's on Keys. My name is Sohail Arustit with the Musical Bridges Around the World, and I'm thrilled to have with me today as my co-host, Karen Grace, TV anchor, college professor, and CEO of Grace Star Media Group. Thanks for joining us, Karen.
Absolutely, Sohail. Good morning, all of you. I am thrilled to be here today as we recognize and honor our healthcare professionals, first responders, and people that keep us well as we broadcast here from UT Health Campus in the Holly Auditorium.
This year, we're not just going to be hearing our professionals perform, but we're also going to go behind the mask for some in-depth interviews to find out what inspires them to serve their community and to hear about the role that music plays in their lives.
So let's get started with our first performer.
We have son of jazz legend Stan Levy, percussionist, PhD, and MD, Dr. David Levy, who's practiced medicine in the jungles of East Africa, traveled with a delegation to accept the Nobel Peace Prize in Norway, toured with Dionne Warwick and the Monkees, and played with the original members of the Grammy Award-winning band Toto.
I was about 11 when I decided to be a doctor. Prior to that, I was reading books about being an attorney and lawyering, crime fighting, and that kind of thing. And I just kind of segued into thinking that I could make a greater contribution, both locally and regionally, impact on people's lives as a doctor. And it was fascinating, and it just led me to where I am today. It is a calling. It's not a job. There is a day-to-day routine for certain. But every hour, really sometimes every minute, you have a new challenge, a new problem to solve, an issue to help with a person. But that person is so much more than that. It's that person, it's their daughter or their wife that's depending on you, or their family or their circumstance. The ripple effect of that which you create in terms of health is manifold. To have a position where you can affect the change of a certain person, attempt to make them well, but make their world a little more well as well, I think is a great opportunity, and it's one I cherish. Music, medicine, people think they go hand in hand sometimes. Not in my case. I had a role model. My father was a working musician for over 30 years. I woke up and Dad was home. He's practicing on the drums, percussion, etc. And then late at night, he would then go out to work, recording a movie, soundtrack, playing a live performance or something on television. In fact, I used to fall asleep at my last moments looking at Dad playing on the Johnny Carson show. And there's Daddy. Music was all around us. I think it was just monkey see, monkey do, maybe some genetics, but the truth is that music came first. I was a full-time musician, traveling on tour, etc., and then I kind of had to make the change over a weekend, actually, and came into the realization that if I didn't do it now, I might not do it ever. And I started college and medical school. 16 years later, popped out of the machine, ready to take care of folks. So many events are being canceled right now in light of the pandemic, but I've been giving time to musical bridges for over a decade. They come to my house and they have international musicians play. I've played with them for concerts and various things. Anya Grochowski, an amazing person, a great organizer, a great force in this community. I would do anything for her. She's a great gal. This is a tribute to the fact that physicians come out to take their time, get away. we play one song, you can't believe how much fun we just had. It's for us as well as for you. The role of the arts in education has always been a precarious part of the global education of our children, young adults. The fact that Musical Bridges is bridging that academic study with a musical and creative study is super important. I think in the future, hopefully post-pandemic, people will see that you need to be in person, you need to be learning, being creative, not just by Zoom, but right there with someone who can lead you towards a more creative force and bring it out of you. The building and the growing from young people, seeing that they have yet another talent to explore, gives hope for our future that it won't just be an academic approach like medicine, but there'll be a creative aspect to one's personality that will always be there throughout your life. You can always enjoy.
That's a dynamite trio, wouldn't you say, Karen?
Yes, I'm feeling jazzy. Now we're going to witness two inspiring women use their four hands on one piano at the same time. Did you know that Dr. Michelle Miller spent 13 years dancing in the Nutcracker Ballet at the historic Fox Theater in Detroit? And her husband, Dr. Eric Miller, serves as chairman of the Musical Bridges Board of Directors, and together they are incredibly dedicated to philanthropy and education.
Michelle's three beautiful children will be watching their mama as she performs alongside founder of Musical Bridges, Dr. Anya Krakowski.
I decided to become a doctor. I remember the exact moment. I was 7 years old and had always thought I would be a teacher. And I fell in love completely with my pediatrician. She was just a remarkable woman. Smart, very astute with her diagnostic skills. I remember talking to her during an appointment and she said, "Why don't you consider medicine too?" And she taught me just how to use the simple tools in her office. Said that, you teach a lot in medicine, so I think you can cover both your love for science and for teaching all at one time, and since then it's been just a straight track. There are times when it's difficult to balance the demands of medicine with family and with life, and especially in a time like this during a pandemic when the needs of your patients are elevated both emotionally and physically, it can be challenging to not burn out and to stay motivated. I just remind myself that my source of strength is not my own, and so I stay in prayer and remember that I'm simply a tool for God. Music has always been in my life, probably since before I was born. My mother was very musical. She was always singing. She was always playing the piano. We tried several instruments growing up. At first it was mandatory, and then of course out of that a love grew. Growing up in Detroit, the people who were in my life who gave me access to culture and the amazing benefits of music really impacted who I am. I know the benefits of music with brain development, with cognition, and just with understanding different cultures from around the world. The mission of Musical Bridge is to bring music and culture to, especially to populations that may not otherwise be able to experience it. That's something that I've always been very passionate about, and it's something that many people did for me as I was growing up. Anytime that someone experiences stress, particularly on a scale such as what we're experiencing right now with our social unrest and the pandemic and all of the other things that are happening in the world, out of that is born some of the deepest and most profound creativity and expressions of it. Forced sometimes to be home, and this has taken a huge financial and mental toll. There are also some blessings that have come out of it. I've heard parents say to me that they're so grateful to have this forced opportunity to really get to know their children and their spouses better and spend quality time doing things that they probably wouldn't otherwise slow down enough to take the time to do. One of the lessons I think would be just to really focus on what's most important in life. Keep making time for those things as we get back to the rush of being back in the world.
Two hands seem hard enough, but that's pretty tough with four, Karen. The last time we hosted an event together, it was during Black History Month, and it was in honor of Kobe Bryant. How the world has changed since then. The reason I mention that is because the entire Miller family are big basketball fans, but they also helped launch our Musical Sprouts program, which now continues to grow as we infuse arts into STEM learning. So we're grateful to the Millers and Central Texas Pain Center, especially Michelle for taking the time to practice and participate. Who's up next?
What's new? The brain surgeon.
Great. I'll try to keep an open mind.
It's not like it's rocket science, Suhail. Dr. Alexander Papanastasio went to Stanford, Harvard, and Yale, but we know he's really smart not just because of that or because he's a neurosurgeon, but because he is the course director for Patient Notes, medical school elective on music and medicine. So he gets it. Music has healing power.
Decide on neurosurgery until my third year of medical school. But I've been interested in the brain. I just thought this was the thing for me. I'm very thankful to my parents and my mom in particular for signing me up for piano lessons. When you understand that the brain is structured to process not just language, but also music and dance and visual art, and it's very consistent across people and across cultures, it makes us all realize that it's not just a hobby or something extra in life, it's actually part of what it means to be human. The mission of Musical Bridges is near and dear to my heart. There are a lot of kids that without Musical Bridges, they would never have heard music quite like that. That just has the potential to open up a new world to these kids. What this pandemic is teaching us is that there are a lot of things in life that it requires a community response to deal with effectively. How much each of us sinks or swims depends on the community.
Wow, Karen, did you know Dr. Papanastasio is the pianist for the Beethoven Big Band?
Some people never cease to amaze me.
Our next artist is not only a dear friend, but also a dedicated member of our Musical Bridges Board of Directors, Fa Winsborough of Luminous Counseling Center. She's a psychotherapist from Brazil who will be dancing in a Laban style of movement, which she has taught and performed in Indonesia, Canada, and Japan. She's also founder of the genuine improvisation and spontaneous dance group, Stardust.
I was around 7 or 8 years old, and a cellarman passed through the farm where we lived in Brazil. He had books, and I saw how to make friends and influence people. I looked at my mom and I said, I want this book. I even didn't know what psychology was, but that book opened the whole world for me, and I became very excited and really pursued it. Dance was also a big passion for me. So when it came the time for my thesis, I did art therapy with emphasis on dance therapy. Authentic movement is almost like a theory of counseling. For me, it becomes a form of expression. If I'm sad, I dance. If I'm happy, I dance. If I don't know what to do, I dance. This dance is pure feelings. I am with Musical Bridges for many years now. Wherever you need, I will be there. Anytime I go to one of Musical Bridges' presentation or one of the events, I come up, lift up. That's what you are doing the best. Absolutely exceptional moment of the art. Amazing international artists that come here. For me, it became more than just art. It's like family for me. Time of so much depression, so much worries, art for the mind is an extremely healing power. I love one of big poems of Robert Bly, this poem that says, "It's already too late." I see that the COVID has been terrible, but I believe that it has been an incredible breath from the earth. And less car, less pollution, less industrial stuff available. People are really reflecting on what is all this. At this moment, maybe we are seeing it, it's already too late. But when the too late materialize, let's look through the ruins for the new foundation.
So whimsical and expressive. And I'm loving these Prado boys. I might just take one of them home with me. Lucky for you, we all get to have them with us for the rest of the program. We want to take a moment to recognize Musical Bridge's inaugural trustee emeritus, Paul Martin of Martin Capital Advisors.
It is my honor today to have Paul Martin staying next to me here. Paul, been board member of Musical Bridges around the world. For how long have you been on the board, Paul?
I think about 6 years, but I was involved a little bit before that as well.
So can you tell us what did you do for Musical Bridges?
Well, I think I helped in a lot of ways. In particular, on the financial side, we're certainly in a much better financial position today, and I think that's maybe the main contribution. I'm not a musician myself, but I certainly enjoy the music, and that's why I've been happy to support the organization.
Well, financial side is extremely important for the performing arts nonprofit, so we're eternally grateful. And because of that, Paul is receiving inaugural award, inaugural trustee emeritus. Sounds very important, Paul.
It sounds very impressive. And I'm thrilled to get this award. I must say, though I do think that there are a lot of other people that deserve a similar recognition, and I'm looking forward to that happening in the future. So yeah, I'm really happy to continue to support Musical Bridges and continue to be involved. And it's a great organization with great programs, and I really want to see it keep moving on into the future.
Thank you very much, Paul. This beautiful award is made by Jeannie Garcia, so I hope it will be a great addition to your collection.
No, she does great work, and it's really fantastic. I'm really looking forward to having this at my house. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I could give you a hug, but we cannot.
Yeah, we're having a social distance here, in case you guys couldn't guess. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Paul, not just for Musical Bridges, but I know that you've served in just about every branch of the military as well. And we also want to recognize retired U.S. Army Colonel Dr. Awilda Ramos for her extraordinary dedication to the educational engagement programs, especially for guiding the research component of Musical Sprouts, the STEAM curricula we mentioned earlier.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're giving 2020 Visionary Award to a dear friend of mine and Musical Bridges board member, Dr. Awilda Ramos. Because of her, Musical Sprouts programming now was expanded from 500 children to 6,000 children. So 6,000 children now going to be introduced to the world because of the dedication of this woman. So Awilda, thank you very much for your love and dedication to Musical Bridges. I don't know what we did to deserve you. And this award, beautiful award, is made by Jeannie Garcia, artist in San Antonio. And do you want to say why? I mean, what did we do to deserve your time and effort and talent?
Well, first of all, this is a great honor. And I want to thank Musical Bridges as well as the board of directors for the inspiration that gave me to be part of this great organization. And as a Puerto Rican, music is in my blood. And my parents inspired me since I was a child to continue doing what I'm doing now as a pediatrician, as a person who wants to help in the community as much as I can. So I want to thank the board of directors, the staff, you, Anya, for being part of my life. And I would like to continue doing these projects as well because you change the life at least of one child, and that is important. And I want to share this with a group of professionals who also are part of these programs, Caleb Gonzalez, Isabel Anaya, and Corina Quintanilla, who are being also part of this vision. And all the schools and superintendents and researchers who believe in us. Yeah. So we're looking forward to continue doing marvelous things with Musical Bridges.
I wish I could give you a hug and kiss, but it's a virtual.
Thank you.
Thank you to both of these exceptional individuals for their commitment. What beautiful Jeannie Garcia Glass Awards. We welcome to the stage Dr. Stan Renard, the founder and coordinator of Music Biz Day, the largest free music biz expo in Texas. In addition to teaching music business and marketing at UTSA, he is also a touring and recording artist, virtuoso violinist, violist, active conductor, and the founder and arranger of Grammy-nominated Bohemian Quartet.
From a young age, I started playing violin and piano. I had a Russian teacher in Paris, and he took me to New York for a festival, and the rest is history. I moved to the US and continued my studies here. I'm a third-generation immigrant. Grew up in France from a French father and a Polish mother. The nomadic lifestyle has already been there, instilled in my DNA of who I am. I can certainly connect to the mission of Musical Bridges in that sense. I play Romani music. Romani music has no frontier. You cannot almost define it because it's so different in every part of the world that it is performed in, because it emerges with different genres of indigenous music. Never take anything for granted. The last time we had a pandemic of this magnitude, it was almost 100 years ago. That's gone from human memory pretty much. No one remembers that, but this one we will. I think we have a lot of opportunities. I see a lot of young folks who do very well with technology. They have a lot of means that we didn't have to connect with audiences, and I think that's very positive.
to tell you a story. I was at a party last year and I heard this booming voice in the kitchen. It was after one of our concerts where I was reintroduced to San Antonio painter Victor de la Fuente. I've always known he was a painter, but I had no idea he had this majesty of a voice trapped inside of him. Apparently it skipped a generation as his grandfather was a singer too.
And Victor will be joined by our very own artistic coordinator for Musical Bridges, the lady who put this entire program together. She holds 2 doctoral degrees, one from Russia and the US. Just another one of our underachievers, Dr. Elena Portnaya on piano.
I would like to dedicate this song to my grandfather, Alberto Wheeler, who I miss.
Acaricia mi ensueño el suave murmullo de tu suspirar, como ríe la vida si tus ojos negros.
He was a tenor, and I used to love to listen to him when he would sing, and he had a really beautiful voice. I wanted that part of that gift that he had as well. At a late age, all of a sudden I could sing now. I was amazed when I found out.
Se olvida el día que me quieras, la rosa que engalana se vestirá de fiesta con su mejor color. Al viento las campanas dirán que ya eres mía, y locas las fontanas se contarán tu amor. La noche que me quieras.
When I heard about musical bridges around the world and their mission and what they stand for, I was really intrigued about it and excited, because if I knew what I know today when I was a kid, the talents, the gifts that I got, it would have been a whole different life. It would have changed a lot of different things. We need more education, and we need to also work with kids at a younger age, see and find out what gifts and what talents they have, because there is a lot of talent, and it's just about cultivating it.
Eres mi consuelo.
Art it's something that it doesn't matter where you're from. It crosses barriers, it crosses all different cultures, it speaks, it has a voice. With this crisis that we've been going through, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of sadness out there, there's a lot of despair and loneliness, and music can heal. I pray that all the time. Lord, let my voice heal. I believe that brighter days are coming, better times.
La noche que me quieras, desde el azul del cielo, las estrellas celosas nos mirarán pasar, y un rayo misterioso haga nido en tu pelo, luciérnaga curiosa que
tell you about that voice. You know, Vic's art has graced the Hollywood screen from Dusk Till Dawn and Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
So very cool. I need to see his work. And I also hear that he paints with molten beeswax. It's a new one for me. A man that is no stranger to this campus and anyone that's been involved with the University of Texas in recent history. Since serving as UT Chancellor, he's gone back to his day job as a transplant surgeon, and he's also the chairman of the Ford Foundation. When on earth does this man have the time to practice guitar? Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Francisco Figueroa.
I've always wanted to be a doctor because my father and my uncle were both physicians, as well as my grandfather. We were surrounded by physicians, and Father would come home every day with a smile because he loved taking care of patients. He would tell us about it, and we would accompany him making house calls. And we always thought, wouldn't it be great to be able to be a doctor just like Father? In the field of pediatric surgery and transplants, we're given the privilege of taking care of either children or adults who are very, very sick. And without a transplant, either their lifespan is shortened. The survival rate for a kidney transplant is nearly 100%. So we can give a lot of hope to a family. When a child dies on you, which doesn't happen that often, but when it does, it's heartbreaking for you, it's heartbreaking for the team. Of course, it's heartbreaking, for the parents because there's no words that can substitute for that. But if the parents know that you and your team tried everything possible to save the child's life or their loved one's life, they understand that we're only human beings and we can only do so much. So it's that patient-physician relationship that becomes so important to overcome difficult times and to celebrate great times. Every day I come to work inspired because it's a privilege to care for patients. Music is a big part of my life. It always has been, and it always will be. I really do believe that patients get better with music or visual arts or poetry or literature. It's a healing process that I think Mother Nature evolved. It's deep within us. One of the most vivid memories for me in my life is when Mother gave me a guitar. And then the very first lesson with Lolo. He was a mariachi player from Nuevo Laredo, Mexico. To realize that I could play a chord was an amazing feeling. I truly believe that the arts are integrally involved in the development and our vision of global peace. And it brings people from different cultures together. And through that, we find a common bond. There have been pandemics throughout the history of the world. These pandemics do pass with time. What we've learned is that in order to overcome these global challenges, we have to come together as a global community. pandemics of this proportion highlight existing inequalities, whether it's access to healthcare, whether it's racism, whether it's being able to actually continue your education. As a global society, we need to understand that we need to provide support for such individuals through no fault of their own. Musical Bridges means a lot to me. I've developed wonderful friendships with all of you. And then also the ability to meet other artists, whether it's the beautiful concerts you have at San Fernando Cathedral, free to the public, whether it's concerts at individuals' homes, or whether it's meeting new performers like Kiza. What a remarkable musician at San Antonio Symphony. It must be elated that she's one of the great cellists in our community. For me, to be able to play with my other fellow physicians and artists like Kizen, it's a privilege for such an important cause.
That was something, wasn't it? Well, Karen, you were asking when he practices. It's a funny story, but I heard he was actually cheating on his local guitar teacher by practicing with a European master at 6 a.m. Texas time, just so he doesn't get caught. He was joined by one of our very own San Antonio Symphony musicians, cellist Ki-Zhen Liu.
Well, next up with the Prados is the stunning Valerie Collins, Associate Vice President of Pape Dawson Engineers, who loves critters and manages environmental projects while working to save endangered species. Secretly, though, she's a trained opera singer.
As Dorothy Parker once said to her boyfriend, fare thee well. As Columbus announced when he knew he was bounced, it was swell, Isabel, swell.
I did grow up with a music teacher for a mother, and my father, he's a very skilled musician. He plays mandolin and violin.
Juliet cried in her Romeo's ear, Romeo.
Growing up, anytime I had a song in my mind, or he did, I could start singing and he could just play along with me.
It was just one of those things, one of those.
Growing up in Houston and having music a part of the curriculum there the way it was, and then coming to San Antonio, I felt a little bit of a difference there, unfortunately. And because of programs like what Musical Bridges is bringing to San Antonio, that's helping to bridge that gap.
One of those fabulous fabulous flights.
I love the idea of bringing world-class musicians to underserved children in schools. I'm very proud of that, and in any way that I can help out with that mission, I'm very happy to do so. Music can make people get in touch with their feelings, and it can be cathartic. There's scientific evidence that music can help people heal physically.
Cool down, so goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, it was just one of those things.
Just as all of the information about the pandemic has spread, we can also spread healing, and hopefully just as quickly. We've all had to learn to deal with one another and view each other with suspicion, but at the same time care for one another as we get sick. It's a sad thing and a terrifying thing, but it's also a very connecting thing. Learning how to love one another and get each other through all of this. We will need to do more of that moving forward. We can build on this and grow even more together as a species with no differences whatsoever. We're humans.
We'd have both been aware that this love affair was too hot not to cool down. So goodbye, dear, and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. Just one of those things.
An old Cole Porter favorite, and beautifully done.
What a spectacular way to wrap.
I'm ready for my brunch basket.
Also, thank you to the chair, Jamie Cook, and her fabulous committee, Kim Biffle, Sophia Dove, Michelle Martinez, Kara Nichols, and Medell Robles.
We couldn't have done this without you, our sponsors, donors, and patrons.
And a special thanks, too, to the Office of the President here at UT Health San Antonio and Special Events Manager, Mary Anthony.
And to our videographers, photographers, staff, and volunteers, and of course, our talented musicians for taking the time to join us.
And Suhail, I am so glad that we could make this free for all of you. Now, if you want to support our mission to transform lives by shattering barriers, creating connectivity, and inspiring hope for those with the least access to the performing arts in our great city, we urge you to make a donation today. And I promise, when you do, you'll get a tingly feeling of immense satisfaction. Gracias. Thank you.
As Dorothy Parker once said to her boyfriend, fare thee well. As Columbus announced when he knew he was bounced, it was swell, Isabel, swell. As Abelard said to Eloise, don't forget to drop a line to me, please. As Juliet cried in her Romeo's ear, Romeo, why not face the facts, my dear? It was just one of those things, one of those crazy things, one of those bells that now and then rings, just one of those things. It was just one of those nights, one of those fabulous flights, a trip to the moon on gossamer wings, just one of those things. If we thought a bit of the end of it when we were out painting the town, we'd have been aware that this love affair was too things.